A really concerning part of India's day today were those two injuries. Rishabh with the knock on the arm, which took 10 minutes to fix up, and in the end, he ended up getting out, caught in the cordon off Josh Hazlewood, a lovely piece of bowling, and probably a rash shot in the context of the innings. But whether he can play next week, unclear. Whether he can bat in the second innings, unclear. Likewise, Jadeja with his thumb. Will he be able to play again in this match or series? Might it be 8 out, all out tomorrow? Jasprit Bumrah off the field a couple of times this afternoon, talking to the team physio and the coach Ravi Shastri. It does feel like tomorrow morning, India have got a big mountain to climb, and I'm afraid to say the wheels could indeed fall off. If Australia are still there batting at lunch and going comfortably, and India have a situation where they have to make a mountain of runs, or they have to bat for going on 4 or 5 sessions to save it, it's going to be very hard graft if they're 2 or 3 players down.
I mean, it's very easy for India to look at what's happening around and say, yes, the wheels are falling off so quickly after one of those great wins in Melbourne. I mean, look at this way the series has gone. Adelaide, 36 all out. How do you ever get out of that? Melbourne happens. Look what happens after Melbourne. India can look at the situation and say, oops, Rishabh, Jadeja. They can say, we came here without Ishant. We lost Mohammad Shami. It was a big loss. We lost Umesh Yadav. Now, are we going to lose these two? Are the elements conspiring against us? Virat Kohli is not around. You can easily look at the situation and say, yes, the elements are conspiring against us. And that is why someone's got to stand up against the waves and say, I'm the wall, you can't beat me down. And for that to happen, it was very important India got those early wickets. 35 for 2, you could have looked at the storm and say, go elsewhere, you're not coming to my house. But that partnership, now suddenly you're thinking 197, you're thinking, you know what, 250 is going to be tough to score. 300, I don't know. And I think Australia have discovered something, Adam. We talk in the Mahabharata about how the war used to, at sunset, the war stopped. Everyone planned their strategy, came out to war again the next morning. I think the deliberations at the end of day 2 would have been, I don't think India like the short ball. Let's come and keep pounding away. You see what happened in the first hour. Stark pounding away, Cummins pounding away. And after a while, the wall just started to have cracks. And I think Australia will do a lot more of that. And so that's why 250, 280, 290 is going to be very, very difficult to chase. So India have got to be positive. It's a word, it's an umbrella word, but I think this game has moved Australia's way. I mean, if India can pull this game out, wow, we'll forget Melbourne and say this was better.
I think you make a really important point there. One of the great things about Test cricket is overnight, a chance to reset, a chance to reevaluate. And tomorrow morning, they'll have another opportunity. They need to remember that. And we have seen that resilience through the series. After Adelaide, at Melbourne, and indeed the way they played on that second afternoon in Melbourne. So from India's perspective, they need to maintain that disposition going into the 4th day and try to find a way to get back into this. And if they do, it'll be a joyous result. And if they don't, let's see how things play out. It's going to be either way. It's been such a great series, Harsha. I feel as though we deserve another twist here. I feel like this has been the test match with the fewest twists so far. I feel like we need something to go the other way tomorrow morning.
I'll tell you something. I've seen this with visiting teams coming to India. And they come to India and they do all right. And then one thing after the other starts happening. Somebody's unwell, somebody's injured, new batsman's not coming in. And then they say, oh, look at the weather. It's hot and humid. Oh, look at the pitch. It's dusty and cracked. And they start to think the world is against them. And the siege mentality starts to come in. And you start to close ranks. The siege mentality probably has lost more test matches than bowlers around the world on away tours. And that is what India need to avoid. I've seen visiting teams come and lose a series well before the series has been lost, because in their mind, they start to think, nah, we can't come back from here. And that is what I'd like to see. If India cannot do it on day 4, there's a very good chance they'll lose the next test match as well. And history will say, there it was 3-1. History will not record how close the sessions actually were. So I think tomorrow's a huge day. India cannot afford to fall so far behind that they start the next test match from way behind Australia.